Welcome back everybody, this is Brother Meat here. Today we're going to do a custom-made build for a viewer that specifically asked me to make a fighter. Just what I would basically do. They didn't have any stipulation on it. I have made one in the past. The fighter build that I had, I compared directly as a range fighter. Compared it to a ranger and compared it to a ranged paladin, which does exist in the game. They're called Divine Hunters. And quite frankly, the fighter did just fine. So I wasn't unhappy with it, but I'm going to do something a little different here. So we're going to make a mercenary. And again, I have a mod that we're using, so this is going to give me stuff that you guys don't have access to normally, so feel free to keep an eye out for that. But I'm going to dual wield dueling swords in this build. And you may think that that's crazy, and it definitely is, but it's also going to be amazingly fun, and I'm going to show you why. Now, make him look as close to my crazy-ass character that I have over here, maybe give him a nice solid tan. He's basically going to be a dex-based character. That doesn't mean he's going to be weak as far as strength is concerned. But I have choices here. Now, I could have been just a generic fighter. Nothing wrong with that. Fighters are amazing. You will enjoy being a fighter. They get a lot of bang for their buck, so to speak. The two-handed fighter, if you're going to go strength-based, would be a solid option, in my opinion, because you get a lot of swing for your great axe or your bardiche. Honestly, I'd pick a weapon that is a lot in the game that's two-handed and has reach. I don't know what that is, but you could look it up, and I'm sure you'll find a ton. But there's definitely good choices in here. And again, a great axe, while it doesn't have good reach to it, it is a solid weapon in the game. There's tons of them around. So a two-handed fighter with strength would be a pretty solid choice. Now, having said that, tower shield specialist, it's not really my thing. If you want to feel like the tank, the mother hen of the group where you're protecting everybody, this could be cool. But it's not my thing. We already have one on the party, so she sucks, but at the very least, she's there. I'm going to go Eldritch Defender because, again, I can use Dueling Sword. Notice they give it to us right off the bat, proficiency in it at least, as well as proficiency in simple and martial weapons like all fighters get, all armor, heavy, light, and medium, and, by the way, since we're going dex-based build, we're going to either wear no armor, meaning robes, which obviously will be magical, or light armor, so that we can capitalize on all that awesome dexterity we're going to have. I'm not going to use shields. That's a personal preference. We could. I'm not going to. It feels weird to be someone that's using a dueling sword as a weapon, finessable weapon, and have a shield in my other arm. I just feel odd about that, I guess. And that's definitely not min-maxing then, so that's on me. But you can do as you wish. Notice that we get combat feats like crazy for being a fighter. Specific ones limiting us compared to a regular fighter. But we'll get a lot of bonuses for being the Eldritch Defender. So again, you're going to like this build, I think. So let's get into it. Color scheme wise, what is he looking like? Kind of brown, gray maybe. So let's do brown, a little darker than that. And then a nice solid gray. That looks good to me. Now, we're going to pick favorite class fighter. We're going to say fighter from start to finish. Yes, there's better builds out there if you want to go duelist fighter combo, if you want to dip inside Sword Saint or something, or maybe get yourself a little bit of rogue, like Thug for instance. You can have a lot of fun, get some sneak attack damage, or go alchemist, get yourself a mutagen buff. Again, there's a lot you can do. We're going to stay a purist. It's not to mean that it's the best, it just means I like it. So it's up to you guys. Notice, I'm going to give you your points here first. In dexterity to 19. I'll get intelligence to 14. Floor these things, and we'll talk about why in a moment. Get con up to 16, and strength up to 14. I'm okay with this. You're smart enough that you'll have plenty of skills, just not a bunch. You're going to be brick as, or not very wise, and you're going to be ugly as hell, so you're not going to be very charismatic. We will invest in persuasion, at least it's a class skill, but by and large, it's not going to be the best build when it comes to stuff like that. If it was a strength-based build, you better believe that I would really probably want charisma, so that I could get persuasion high, so I could do intimidation checks. But we don't have to, and I'll show you a trick on that. As far as skills are concerned, athletics is only going to get 1 point ever. I'll put 3 points eventually into mobility. I'm going to always have points in trickery and always have points in perception. Why? Because if you're running solo, and you can with this build for at least a while, you will be fine. You'll do good damage, be very strong and tough, have high armor, high hit points, and the ability to disarm traps as well as pick locks will be on you. Same with perceiving those things. So again, you'll be okay. So as long as you keep maxing those out, you're going to be fine. Notice we have world, knowledge, world, and lore nature. We will even invest in these damn things, and persuasion, and maybe a point or two in use magic device, just so you can say you can use a scroll or whatever after combat is the idea here. But by and large, it's going to be a garbage idea. So if you don't want to use those 2 points in there, put them somewhere else. But having said that, like I said, these two are going to be relatively high. They're going to be lagging behind because we need to get mobility up. But trickery is always going up, perception's always going up, and persuasion will go up a decent clip as well. The reason I mention this is we're going to fast forward through this part of the video so you don't see this and you're not wasting your time. Know that all 5 of my ability increases are going all into dexterity. 19 was so we can get to greater 2-weapon fighting as soon as I can. I don't even have to rely on points. It's going to be a limitation based on my fighter level or my BAB, and that's fine with me. But maxing out that dexterity to 24 is going to be very, very nice for you. You'll have a solid +7 here. Now, I mentioned that we're going to have a really good dexterity, so 7's not that great. It's decent, but we can get better. With gear, I can get you all the way up to a +13. And while you may say, well, if I'm wearing heavy plate armor, I can't use that +13. That's true. That's why we're not using heavy plate or medium armor for that matter. I will be using light armor. And there's a specific one in the game that allows you to have a dex modifier all the way up to a +15 and still employ all that +15 armor. Obviously, we're not at +15, so at the very least, we'll be able to get our 13 back. And it's a really solid leather, studded leather armor for that matter. If I don't do that, then you can take the studded leather off, put on braces of armor class +8, and put on a kick-ass robe. There's plenty in the game. And again, you will still be fine. So don't worry about the fact that, you're going no armor, you're going to be sucky. No, you're not. You're going to have plenty of armor over here. Trust me on this. So again, we're going to fast forward through these parts. Now, first things first, let's talk about deity. You don't need one. Having said that, you can pick one. Just remember that there is limitations on picking a deity. If you pick one, you are limited to these alignments. I don't care. We don't have any prerequisite for being good or neutral or evil or lawful or chaotic. But there is gear in the game where being lawful is important. Being chaotic is important. Being a true neutral is important. So know if you're going to want that gear, what one to pick. That's my only real caveat here. And again, if I want neutral, there's deities that are neutral. If you want lawful, good even for that matter, there's deities that do that too. So just go through the list, decide what you want. You do not get their favorite weapon. You do not get their domains. You are a fighter. This means nothing to you. So thematically, pick what you want. Again, keep with the alignment that you were looking for. Since I don't care, I'm just going to skip deity altogether. For here, we're going to get traits now, 3 of them, as you'll see in a moment. And then we're going to get additional traits later on and get 3 more. That means we have to take both the emotional drawback and eventually the physique drawback. The physique drawback I will take is hedonistic. This is a penalty to your strength and dex. Basically, you're considered fatigued if you don't have enough cash on hand. That's not going to be a problem later. Early on it is. That's why I'm not picking it now. For the emotional drawback, I'm picking the other one that's also money related, called envy. And again, it'll be a problem, but it's only a penalty to your concentration. Do you cast spells? No, so you don't have any problem. It's an easy one to grab, and now, like I said, you have 3 traits. On traits, remember, this is because of my mod that I get traits. On traits, you may say, well, he's not going to pick a magic trait. Well, not right now, I'm not. Same with faith. Not right now, I'm not. But there are stuff inside here that is useful to you. Let me just show you something. Okay, dangerously curious. Does nothing to do with magic, has everything to do with use magic device. You get a green check mark next to it. Notice how I don't have that right now. Because it becomes a class skill for you, and you get a +1 bonus to that. So that's a solid upgrade. Remember, that's green check mark. If I put 1 point in that, instead of going to +1, it goes to +4, because you get 3 points because it's a class skill. Then I get a bonus as well, so now it's up to a +5. Now, yes, it was at a -2, so you just have to subtract the 2. So basically, I'm telling you, you're going to be at a +3. Still good. The downside is again, it's garbage, and we're not really investing into charisma. However, if you look at Pragmatic Activator instead, yes, you don't get it as a class skill, sadly, but your intelligence modifier is used instead of your charisma modifier. And again, our intelligence is decent at a +2, so instead of being at -2, it would be at a +2 here. Put a point in there, again, it'd be at +3. Again, potato potato, we both ended at +3, but which of these stats are you more likely to raise up with gear? Intelligence, which is already decently high, or charisma, which is in the goddamn toilet? You see my point? So probably it would be the intelligence one that I would go for if I had to choose. I don't have to choose it. I'm just telling you that there is stuff in here. Same with faith trait. There's stuff in here that's definitely useful to you, and again, we will pick stuff. Birthmark, for instance, a bonus to your saves against these things. Your will saves are going to suck. You are a fighter. So something that gives you bonuses for that, here's another fine example. If you have a luck bonus of any kind, that bonus is increased by 1. We don't have that, but lessons in faith. Pass. Where is it? Wisdom, Scholar of the Great Beyond. Sacred Conduit, no. Lessons of Faith, no. Dominable Faith, here you go. +1 trait bonus on will saves. Who wouldn't want to have more will saves? And again, you definitely need this. So again, a trait that is worth a damn. I'm not grabbing those now. What am I grabbing now? Well, remember, we're never going to grab custom traits because those ones are kind of cheating. It even says custom trait cheat because there really is stuff in here that's, it's pen and paper, but there's like really crazy ass shit in here. Like, how about a +2 to your wisdom and your intelligence once you get to level 10? That's awesome. And you get a +10 to your arcana, whether you've invested in it or not. Yay! Again, it's weird, but it's because you're part of some weird-ass prophecy. Pass. I will take, however, an equipment trait, because if you pick it at level 1, they actually give you a weapon if you go family heirloom here. And it's a magical weapon. And it gives you skill in that weapon. Well, a bonus, I should say, in that weapon. That bonus is going to be a +1 trait bonus for using any dueling sword, including the one that they give you. Having said that, the one they give you will be magic as well. So if you're trying a very hard difficulty, honestly, I would say that whatever kind of character you are, you should probably try to pick up at least family heirloom for whatever weapon you think in this list is one that you would like to wield from the start. There's a lot in here. It's not every weapon, but there's a lot of good choices in here. So again, there's options is my point. And feel free to scroll through that and decide what you want. A dueling sword, again, with us wielding those, one in each hand, that's a bonus to each one. I'll happily take that. Notice, for our next trait, we're going to do campaign trait and sword scion. Again, there's other options in here too. I'll go over briefly. But notice that this one will give you a long sword in one hand and a dueling sword in the other. So they make you 2-weapon wield, even though you have a massive penalty to that right now. But they start you out that way for a reason. And you get a bonus to the swing for each of those weapons. So long swords and Eldori dueling swords, you get another +1 to your swing as well as your combat maneuvers. And then yes, that does stack with your family heirloom of dueling sword here. So a +1 from this one, a +1 from this one, and it's a +1 weapon. So already I'm at a +3 to my swing, not counting the fact that we're about to do weapon finesse. So again, we're getting really good at swinging that weapon as a level 1 fighter. Going on, is there anything else in here that you must take? Well, there's combat traits that are awesome. For instance, you can be an armor expert. This is for armor check penalty. I don't care about that one. You could do Defender of the Society, though. But notice this one. While this is a bonus to your armor class, +1, but only when wearing medium or heavy armor. What did we say we were going to do? That's right, light armor. So this is a no joy. Deft Dodger, nice bonus to your reflex. You're going to, by the end of this build, have a +7 to your dexterity bonus. And I'm going to take that even higher to up to a +13. You don't need more reflexes, quite frankly. I mean, more is always better, but that's kind of a dumb one. Same with reactionary, where you get a bonus to your initiative check. Yes, early on, that's nice. You don't really need it for the end of the build. So again, look for something that's interesting. Here's a bonus to fortitude saves. If I was trying to intimidate people, here's a bonus to persuasion with a check and making it a class skill, which we already have. So that's kind of nonsensical, but the +1 trait bonus is still there. There's Anatomist if you want to confirm crits. It's not amazing, but the chance that you can crit now is a little bit better. The fact that at the end of this build, though, we actually get the ability to automatically crit with our weapon of choice. So, kind of meh. But again, on you. I like, of course, Blade of the Society because of the sneak attack damage. Again, nice, not amazing, but better earlier on than later. I can get that now, but honestly, I'd rather take a regional trait of Wanderlust. Why? Because I can get a ground speed already buffing up my character. And that's a solid upgrade. If I was going for a strength-based build where I'm trying to intimidate bad guys, using the Cornigan Smash, Dreadful Carnage, Shatter Defenses combo, it's been used many, many times. It's very handy, very useful. I would honestly pick Bruising Intellect, because this one would allow you to use your intelligence modifier for your charisma, in place of your charisma for your intimidation checks. And Persuasion gets to be a class skill, it already is, and it gets a bonus to Persuasion as well. All that's a win for you. You just make sure your character is super smart, and you'll be bruising intellect on all the bad guys, hurting their little sad ass feelings, and scaring the shit out of them while you do it. That's pretty awesome. But since that's not something I'm going to do, I'll happily just take ground speed increase. And that's a solid upgrade. We're going from 30 feet to 40 feet around. That's a solid movement. And again, if you're not soloing, you want to have a quick speed on your character without buffs. Why? Because if you're up in the front and you're attacking guys and someone sneaks past you and starts threatening your backliners, how do you get back there fast enough to still attack? That's right, you have to have a decent ground speed to get back there in one combat round. Get that bastard's attention, stab him in the heart a little bit, maybe kill him if you're lucky. So again, Wanderlust comes in handy to me. And again, we'll get 3 more later. Again, we'll get that combat trait. We'll probably pick up something from social trait as well as a faith or a magic trait. But now, know that we have a specific feat here. A combat feat that's given to us for being a fighter type. In this case, the Eldritch Defender. It's limited to fighters, so it's not everything under the sun. But solid choices in here. So again, 2-weapon fighting is right there waiting for you. But again, that's still a penalty of -4 for both our weapons if we use 2 Eldritch dueling swords. So we're not doing that. We definitely need weapon finesse though. You're a dex-based character. You might as well hit better than normal. +4 already on that swing. Here you go. Then we have 2 more normal feats to pick up because we're human. Notice we can take a penalty. Now I'm going to show you one that we're going to take. And then I'll show you that could have been 2 others. Frail is one, and peg leg is the other. You can only have one of those drawbacks. See that here? It specifically says you don't have these 2, so it's okay to take this one. By picking this, you're literally giving yourself a penalty to abjuration saving throws. There's not that many in the game. And you are weak against cold. Now either that means a penalty to the save against cold type spells or more damage from cold, or both, I suppose. But there's not many. And again, you can make yourself immune to cold, so this is a nonsensical problem anyway. There's other ones in here, so pick what you feel, but this is probably the go-to for most people. Never pick evocation, though. There's a ton of fire in this game, and there's a shit ton of evocation spells, so that would be a bad idea to me, anyway. From here, though, the reason we did that was because taking this 1 feat as a penalty gives us 2 more feats. So now, as a human, I have 1, 2, 3 feats to start, and 4 if you count this one. And hell yeah, I'm counting it. So what are we going to grab for these 3 other feats? Well, you already grabbed weapon finesse. How about you get yourself weapon focus for that dueling sword, huh? Make sure you're swinging extra hard on that shit. What might you get besides that? Here's slash and grace. This allows me to take that +4 dex mod that I have right now and add it to the damage, so long as it's a dueling sword in my hand. Who wouldn't like that? Now, having said this, this is not necessary for this build. I'm taking it for a reason, but let me explain why I say it's not necessary first. When you get either slashing grace or the counter one, which is fencing grace, for those that have a piercing damage weapon versus a slashing weapon. That's the difference here. But it's the same principle. You add your dex modifier to the damage output, assuming that the dex is better than your strength. It basically replaces strength stat for that reason. Now, why would you not want either of those things? If your weapon of choice, in our case dueling sword, has a lot of agile weapons that are available in the game, the agile weapon trait by default means that weapon in your hand uses your dex modifier. And there are 2 agile dueling swords, at least by name. What I mean by name, they're named weapons. They're special weapons, if you will. And they have the agile trait built into them. That means we can 2-weapon wield those bastards and still get our full dex modifier for damage, and that's gonna be sweet. Now, having said that, not just dueling sword has this option. There's other weapons, and I wanted to tell them to you because they're important. For named weapons that have the agile trait, twice at least, in them, the following list popped up for me. Punching daggers has 2. Daggers, there's 2 of those that have agile. There's 2 sais that are named that have agile. There's 4 different rapiers that have agile, that are named rapiers. Now again, this does not count all the weapons in the game that are generic, where it just says agile rapier +2. I didn't look for those, because I don't know how I would even tally that list. But for the named ones, those are usually your bread and butter really anyway. Know that those 5 different weapon categories at least are solid choices for you if you want to 2-weapon wield and be a dex-based character and do some serious damage. Okay? Again, I went dueling swords because duh. But it's up to you. I have toyed with the idea of going daggers. There's some fun stuff that you can do with daggers in this game, and there's a lot of them. But again, on you for what you pick. From here, I got my dueling sword. Yes, I do. Last feat. What am I going to grab? I can get Piranha Strike right now and get damage right off the bat. Why not, though, give yourself some extra tanky goodness? Or finish up on your additional traits. I have no problem with that, except for this, the physique drawback. Remember, penalty if you're not rich. The higher your level, the more money you need to have on hand. So if you start off poor, you're already at a penalty. So that's why I'm not going to do that. Let's see, where is this? Nope. Over here. I'm going to grab Eldori Dueling Mastery. Why? This one gives us a bonus to initiative so long as we have the weapon in our hand. Notice it also gives us, if we have only one in our hand, we get a bonus to a shield. So it's like using a shield, but not. It's only a +2 bonus, I'll grant you, but we don't have the ability to cast the shield spell. So this is a nice replacement. And again, could I use a shield? Yeah. Am I going to? No. So getting this at least is something, and I'll happily take it.
I'll take care of it.
Choppy choppy. Welcome to the party, buddy. Now again, alignment does matter depending on the type of gear you're shooting for. There's gear out there, rings in particular, where lawful is important. There's rings that chaotic is important. There's a kick-ass ring out there where being neutral of any kind, neutral good, chaotic neutral, neutral evil, lawful neutral, or true neutral, which has a really nice ring, again, is a limitation. You can only wear it if you have true neutral. If you know that's part of your build, that's how I would go. I know that's metagaming. I don't care. On the harder difficulties, this game is tough enough. But I'm going lawful because I almost always do. Honestly, though, in pen and paper, my friends would tell you that I'm a chaotic good guy because, you know, fuck the law. I don't know. Sorry. But that's usually my go-to stance when we're actually campaigning, pen and paper style. But lawful good for this game makes sense to me. You are going to be the ruler of the kingdom, so why not do that to yourself? We're going to continue going fighter. Again, all 20 levels. Okay, here we are. Now I have a laundry list of weapons upgrades that we want for one, as well as other things. So now let's give you the list, and we'll point out things that, if we show unavailable, that are on this list that have restrictions. For instance, we got Blind Fight, which is up here. We're going to get it. And I can get, I don't have to, but I can get, after that, Eyes, Improved Blind Fight, which is a solid choice. I could even go one further and get Greater Blind Fight, which again is a solid choice. On you. Notice Penetrating Strikes and Greater Penetrating Strikes are amazing. We're going to get both of those. Penetrating Strikes obviously first. That will be at level 12. You have to be a level 12 fighter to meet that requirement. Greater Penetrating Strikes is even higher than that. That's, I want to say, 16. Again, another solid upgrade. This literally allows you to straight up ignore DR10. And if it's higher than DR10, which I have a fight ready to queued up so that they have a DR of 11, it'll show you that you basically just subtract 10 from their DR. So if they have DR11 against physical attacks, now they have DR1 against your physical attacks. That's awesome. So again, I love Greater Penetrating Strikes on a fighter type build. I use this on a Sword Saint because Sword Saints can actually pick this shit up. The other mage I can't. It's because of their fighter training. They get theirs at level 7 and it's equal to their Sword Saint level -3. So at level 19 they're 16. So this is the last possible chance that the Sword Saint can pick up Greater Penetrating Strikes, and it owns. I'm telling you, if you ever do that, feel free to do that. Other stuff though that we can do, we're not going to, but we could, is the critical thing. Getting critical focus, improved critical, getting criticals a lot so that you can tire them with every critical hit, or you can exhaust them, or you can blind them, which is awesome. There's a lot of different critical stuff that we can do. Again, it's fun. I've done it before. I'm not going to do it today. We are going for, like I said, 2-weapon fighting. Also, where you at? Improved 2-weapon fighting. Notice that it has a requirement, not a fighter level, but a base attack bonus of 6. When will that show up? Here. So again, there's nothing I can do about it until here. So at level 7, you better believe that this is going to be something I want. Which means before level 7, I need to have 2-weapon fighting. And I'm cool with that. The other one after that is greater to weapon fighting, and again, we're getting it 2. We have the dexterity for it. Why not swing an extra time? We can get that with a BAB of 11. That's here. So happily we'll pick that up there. So again, limitations that we put on ourselves, but try to grab those things as soon as possible. Something else I will probably grab, don't have to, but I like the extra armor. Since we're wearing light armor, I can get armor focus, light armor, and then I get a +1 for any light armor that I'm wearing. Early on, that's nice armor. Piranha Strike, we're getting it. Sadly, we can't do Arcane Strike because you have no magic in you, so we don't get that +1 to +5 damage. However, you can get, later, Weapon Specialization and Greater Weapon Specialization. That's a +2 to a specific weapon's damage each time you grab those. So I can get a +2 initially, then a +4 after that. And that's not bad. Other stuff that's on my list is Dodge, of course, which we're going to take right now. And I think that's about it. I might be missing something though, because I didn't grab Greater Blinding Fight last time, so I might be missing something now. I'll have to look through it as we play. But that's Dodge is what we're picking up here. Fighter. At this point, you probably should have a decent amount of money on you. I don't mind getting the additional traits. Oh, that's the other one I was missing, additional traits. Duh. Alright, grabbing additional traits. We're going to grab... see, social trait, adopted. Why am I getting this one? And you may wonder why. Because if you go adopted, it opens a laundry list of stuff. Just like we found out yesterday that I don't like getting flat-footed. Remember, part of this reason that we're going this weird-ass dex-based builds and wearing light armor only, or robes, is because we will have so much dexterity that we can dodge shit effectively, only if we're not flat-footed. So flat-footed is a problem. However, if you have Everywhere Tiefling here, picked, that's not a word, picked, then you literally get half your dex modifier even if you're flat-footed. You're still considered flat-footed, but at the very least you're still going to get half that dex. Right now that's only +2. But it's better than 0. By the end of the build, like I said, with the proper gear, I can get you up to a solid +13. So half of that would be 6. And again, 6 isn't amazing, but it's better than a 0. So again, you can see the appeal here. Then we're going to grab a physique drawback, like I said. Hedonistic. Again, like by now you should have enough money that you can afford this. Let's get our combat trait. And again, there's other stuff in here you could grab if you want more fortitude, rocket. If you want to have a better initiative check, hey man, there's good reasons to want that. Notice that Dirty Fighter is actually busted in that instead of giving 1 point of damage, weirdly it gives, I think, a bonus of +5. So it's kind of trippy that that's there. And while that's cool, you have to flank a target to get that. And if you're running solo, that's a no bueno for you. But Blade of Society, on the other hand, that's sneak attack damage, and I can get that on the first combat round while they're flat-footed. It won't be consistent, but it'll still be a solid choice for me. And again, I can chuck a potion of invisibility or vanish or whatever and sneak up on them that way. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's solid damage for you. And again, I'd rather get it earlier than later. Then, for our last one, again, the choice is either faith or magic. Now let's first check that magic one. Pragmatic Activator was here, but if I went faith, there was one for will saves, wasn't there? Ease of Faith. Child of the Temple. Birthmark. No, where the hell is it? No. Faith's favorite. Indomitable Faith, that's gotta be it. Yeah, +1 on will saves. And it's a trait bonus, which means it stacks with all kinds of stuff. So I'll take that one because your will straight up sucks on this build. And I'll happily take that. And again, as you can see, you're sitting at a 0 right now. Now, go crazy with your fighters. Now, weapon specialization is a possibility. Notice that it was limiting by fighter level. This is the +2 to your damage. Now again, that's all bonus, no minus. However, Piranha Strike is a penalty to your swing, but a bonus to your damage. A -1 for a +2. Notice it's half that for an offhand weapon. If you're making an attack with an offhand weapon or a secondary natural weapon, which again, we're dual weapon wielding eventually, and that's going to be a thing that we need to account for, so be aware of that. However, I don't like the penalty just yet, because while you're at a +4, why make yourself at +3 by taking this and turning it on? This one, on the other hand, is just +2 damage. Take it. Keep going, fighter. Now, this is where we're getting to freaky stuff. So now this is going to be a weapon choice. The only one in here that I found anyway that's for Dueling Sword is Heavy Blades. Notice that it's a bonus to attack and damage +1 for all the Heavy Blades that are in this list. And we have skill in some of these, not all of them. Bastard Sword and Chakram I think are exotic weapons. Same with Elven Curve Blade. Great Sword isn't one. So we have access to Great Sword, we have access to Dueling Sword, we have access to either Falcata or Falchion, but not both. I forget which one we have. Longsword we can use a scimitar, we can use a scythe, I believe, and we can also use, I don't think we can use a two-bladed sword, because I think that's an exotic weapon as well. But there's some in here that's my point that you can use, which means you don't have to be using a dueling sword all the time. So if you find a kick-ass longsword +5, hey man, equip that shit in your offhand. There's nothing wrong with that choice. I'm just saying normally, since we're buffing from the start to the end your use of a dueling sword, it makes more sense to be dual wielding that specific weapon. Again, caveat there. This is the one we're taking, and it's the only one we're going to take from this point on, and it'll be here, here, and here. So that's a +1 to a +4 to the attack and the damage of your weapon swing. That's a solid upgrade. Notice it also helps, by the way, with combat maneuvers defensive, to keep you from being disarmed when your opponent's trying to knock the weapon out of your hand. So that's helpful. I don't usually see that in the game, but it's probably there. And I just never noticed it because I killed too fast. But these other ones up here are going to be where the sweet spot is, because these bonuses aren't going to be for weapons. These bonuses are going to be used for other cool stuff to flesh out your build. Now, I definitely want to get into my two-weapon fighting if at all possible. Okay, got that at the very first level if I wanted, but that's crazy talk. Notice that, again, we're still going to be at a -4 penalty if we use Dueling Sword, Dueling Sword. So do Dueling Sword in your main hand, and in your offhand put a light weapon. Dagger, short sword, not rapier. Kukri, I think, might be on that list. You may have access to it. Sai. There's all kinds of stuff you can pick, is my point. So do that for the time being. And again, we're about, way down here, going to unlock the potential of using 2 dueling swords later. So don't worry. Now, and actually, let's back out of here real quick. I want to show you something first. Except that. I want to show you what they started me with. Okay? Dueling sword, magic dueling sword, long sword. And the reason for the long sword was because we had picked that sword scion where they give us 2 of them. So these were the 2 that were supposed to be in your hand. And this one was because of the family heirloom. Okay? Now look at this one, right? We're wielding a +9. And this one over here at a +4. No, that seems wrong. Oh, because it's not weapon finessable. That's what it is. Here we go. Over here we're at a +10 because it's magical. So +9 and +9 if we're using the same kind of weapon. Having said that, notice we have a solid damage penalty. +9. You see that here? When I 2-weapon equip, I'm down to +6. Why? Because again, we're 2-weapon wielding. We don't get, I want to say, all of our dex modifier to that. So we're losing out on some damage potential there. And that's okay. This alone, as a one-hander, is still a solid option. And you can see at level 5, you're swinging at a +14. I haven't gotten any magic equipment besides the shit that they gave us at level 1. Just built the character and ran with it. This is what you have. And I get that backpack. It looks ugly. Okay, but my point's still the same. This is a solid character all ready to be your main tune. You're hitting hard, solid damage, decent crit range. Not amazing, but there's ways around that. And the only thing that's really a problem right now is your will saves and the skills that we have invested in. And that's about it. Got a solid amount of hit points already too. Just saying. Keep going. Now notice we're getting Disarming Strike. I don't think that works for us unless we actually have skill in disarming a target, which we do not. Going fighter. More skill. Improve 2-weapon fighting, so now you can swing more often. You can delay that to here if you want. And again, just to show you one more time, greater 2-weapon fighting, when would that open up? Bab of 11. That's not till here. So 9 we can pick it up. So I don't have to grab it now. And I'm actually okay with not picking it up now because again, it's still a -4 penalty if we try to do Dueling Sword, which is a bad idea. So, Piranha Strike is an obvious choice. I like extra damage. We can turn that on, and I have enough of a bab that I don't mind the penalty at this point. And again, just to show you that character now, at level 7, that same one weapon in his hand. Let me actually turn on my... There it is, my Piranha Strike. I can even fight defensively if I so choose. But with that Piranha Strike on, I get a solid bump to my damage. And again, a penalty to my swing, -2, but a +4 to the damage. So that's nice. Solid chance to hit and hurt a target. Still swinging well, and you have 2 attacks already. You're doing well for a character, in my opinion. Dueling Fighter. This is where we can fight defensively and have some fun. This takes away a -4 penalty from fighting defensively and turns it into a -2, and then gives us 2 extra dodge on top of that. Remember, we went mobility 3 points for a reason. Because if you have mobility 3 points invested or higher, then when you fight defensively, instead of a +2 to your dodge, you get a +3 to your dodge. So now I got 3 dodge from that, 2 dodge from this. That's 5 dodge added to my armor while fighting defensively with my weapon. Add a -2 penalty to my swing, I'll happily take a +5 dodge bonus. Keep going, fighter. Now, I jump to this one always because it's the bottom one. See how it's weapon training heavy blades? We're always going to pick that one. You know you're gonna. You might as well just do it. This is again a +1, now +2 to the swing as well as the damage output using any of the weapons that's on that list. Now again, we don't have access to all those weapons, but the ones that are on there know them. And again, if like I said, if you find a nice magic longsword, feel free to equip it. You're doing okay with it. It's just not as good as our dueling sword. Just know that. And again, it's going to be the same one each time here and here. Eventually a solid +4 to both. Now here's where we get the fun stuff. Notice the ones, again, we can get another weapon category. I don't care to do so. You're going to be a specialist. It makes perfect sense to me that you're a specialist. And again, you're a specialist in that it's not just one weapon, it's multiples. But dueling swords are your bread and butter. But notice some cool ones. First, we're going right to effortless dual wielding. You treat all one-handed weapons that belong to the trained weapons group that we have, so long swords now, or dueling sword in our case, is in this list, as if they were light weapons, which means we don't have a -4 penalty if we do weapon wield that shit. It's now a -2, -2. That's a big boon for us, you see that? And that's what we're doing there. I'm going to go back to that in a minute just to show you some other stuff, but let's grab that improved weapon fighting before we forget. Now, having said that, the other ones we're going to get, because we got 2 more coming up here and here, Armed Bravery. We can take our Bravery bonus, which is this thing here. That's a bonus to your will saves for fear only. Eventually gets up to a +5. If I pick this, that goes towards all my will saves instead of just being for fear. That means I'm getting a +5 for my will check. That's a not bad upgrade. Then you can do fighter reflexes so that you have a bonus to reflex save. Remember, our dex is going to be +7 all the way up to a +13. You don't need more. You could get it though if you really want to push that through the roof. There's nothing wrong with that. Same with fighter tactics. It's a solid upgrade. The downside of this is you need to invest in teamwork feats. This is the equivalent of what the Inquisitor on your team has, called solo tactics, where once they take tactics, even if their teammates don't have the tactics, which normally they would have, or the teamwork feat, normally they would have to, they have the ability to pretend like they do. So they get the buff, their teammates don't, but they get the buff, and that's awesome. So if you're going to take the team and you have teamwork feats involved with your build, feel free to grab this. That is useful, but we're not doing that. Trained Initiative is another one though that I do like, and again, it's a bonus. The weapon trained weapon group, see my +1, +2, +3, and +4. That +4 eventually will be added to my initiative. So that's another nice one for me. And again, it keeps me from being flat-footed all the time because I'm acting hopefully first in combat. So we'll take that one too. So Armed Bravery is the next one, and then Trained Initiative will be the last one here. And again, just to show you the character at this stage, solid swing. See how the penalty is only -2. Yes, there's the -3 Piranha Strike. That's always going to be a thing unless I shut Piranha Strike off. But that -2 was a moment ago a -4 for each of these weapons. And again, I can wield them. I get all the bonus for being family heirloom for being a dueling sword, sword scion for being a dueling sword, weapon focus for having a dueling sword. So while it's a -2, I got a +3 countering all that shit. just from feats and traits and shit, covering my bases. That's why I think you can do this. And again, once we get to the agile weapons, as I'll show you later, you're going to be crushing it. And again, notice your armor changes. I got a 21, 19. Why am I losing 2? Because again, remember I can use, if I have only 1 in my hand and my other hand's free, I can use it as a shield, a +2. So if you need extra armor, there is a reason to swap back to that. Okay, it's less damage, less attacks around, so therefore less damage, but a better chance to hit as well. So potato patata, however you do it. Notice I'm going to put my 2 best weapons up here that are both agile, and then I'll have probably 3 really good dueling swords here, here, and here, so that I have a chance to switch off to a one-hander and have my open hand free if I need, for whatever reason, that extra armor. I feel like I do. Just saying, that's a good combat tactic for you. Going fighter. Notice we just picked up counter attack. This is one that I thought was different. I thought this was like the counter attack we have for the Sword Saint or whatever, where you're stabbing a caster in the face after they cast their spell. No, this is literally if someone pokes you in the face with a melee weapon, so long as you can reach them, you poke them right back with an attack of opportunity. That's freaking awesome. That's basically like, oh, you hurt me? Well, let me hurt you back, you son of a bitch. And that's still pretty cool. So I thought that was pretty neat. I wanted to point that out to you. Okay, going fighter. Okay, greater 2 weapon fighting is finally on the table, and you definitely want that. Remember, that's a 3rd extra attack. So I'm rocking a 3 and a 3 right now for my swinging. Notice that we also got defensive parry. So again, as long as we have Sword Lord in our hand, we get extra armor class as a result of that. That steadily gets better. Let me show that to you real quick. So here is our 3 attacks. Here is our exactly the same 3 attacks. As long as I have the same magical weapon in there, dueling sword obviously, it will be a 15, 15, 10, 10, 5, and 5. That's a solid attack chain already, and we're only at level 11 right now. Notice our will straight up sucks. It's going to be a thing. And notice our armor. Studded leather, dodge, dex. So that bonus that we were seeing, either it's only against melee. Let's say, take a quick gainer at that. Either it's only melee or, yeah, against melee. So we're not seeing it until combat starts. But know that you're going to get that +1, +2, +3, eventually a +5. And again, that's solid extra armor for your character. Keep going fighter. Now, again, we have a lot of stuff that we can choose. Blind fight is a solid choice. Armor focus for light armor if you're going to go that route. I may actually delay that till the very end, because if I don't need it, maybe I'll get something different. We can get greater weapon specialization. That's an extra +2 to your damage for both those weapons. Remember, both of them are dueling swords now, right? So you had a +4 to your damage output instead of a +2. That's more damage. Definitely worth having. Greater weapon focus. Maybe you just want to hit more often with that same dueling sword, 1 in each hand. That's another +1 to your swing. So we're going to get that. So let's just grab that one now. Fighter. Alright. Remember, jump to this one first. Heavy training and the heavy blades. Another +1 to your damage, +1 to your swing. So now we're up to a +3 for each. Then we're going to grab this one, and this is where we're going to grab the armed bravery. Or now our will saves are going to go up by our points that are up here. So right now a +3, then it'll be +4, then finally a +5. Then, feat-wise, again, we get that greater weapon specialization, we get blind fight if we so choose. We wanted both. I honestly say we get the improved critical for the dueling sword. Now, yes, before you say it, there are dueling swords that have the keen property already built in. But remember, we are not a sword saint or any kind of magus. We do not get to buff our weapon with a click of a button, making it keen. So you have to have this, in my opinion. Yes, there are some that are keen. When they show up, hey, great. Until that time, you're basically screwed, and you rely on this to make it keen naturally. And again, it won't stack. It's just whichever is there first works. Okay, again, greater weapon specialization is staring you in the face. Why don't you want it? Again, maybe you do want that blind fighting though sooner than later. You're in melee combat all the time, and the chance that somebody's going to hit you while invisible or stealth is going to start pissing you off. So the ability to just ignore that shit comes in soup's handy. Going Fighter. I am missing, I just thought of, another feat. I'm missing out on another feat. I keep forgetting because it's not on the thumbs up category. It's in the P's. You remember it? And we missed it. We could have got it all the way back here. It's okay. Again, shuffle stuff around as you need. I do that all the time. So again, if I didn't write it down on a piece of paper, because I'm not that smart, I would have missed it. But I knew I was missing something. I'm like, I know I'm missing another feat in here somewhere. That's what it was, penetrating strikes. And again, it's good that we got it here, because guess what happens at level 16? Or is it already available to us? Oh my god, it's already here. Oh, 16. Yay! Perfect timing then. Oof. That's close. I'd hate to have missed out on that opportunity, because while this +2 damage is nice, having DR penetration up to 10 is even nicer, in my opinion. Going. Skill break. Heavy blades. Last one. Now here, can get trained initiative. So the fighter, let's see, from the trained weapon group, that's these guys here, the fighter applies his weapon training bonus, this +4 that we have, to our initiative check. On that, we have blind fight. We haven't grabbed improved blind fight yet. See that one? And again, you melee attacks ignore the mischance for less than total concealment. That's 50%, so that's greater in Viz or displacement. You may re-roll your mischance percentile on the total concealment. If you successfully pinpoint an invisible target or attacker within 30 feet, I don't know how the hell you do that, but if you did, the attacker gets no advantage for ranged attacks. That's helpful to us. Now the greater blind fight is even better, but it again is another one that I could honestly see you saying, I don't really need that one. So again, on you. Greater blind fight. For those of you that are curious, you might like this part. That total concealment problem, even if they're invisible, even if they're displaced, suddenly you have a 20% chance to miss them, not a 50. And you still get to re-roll your mischance. So that's nice. So you get 2 rolls to pass a 20% chance. So if you hit them, and then this counters it, you re-roll again. Do I counter it again? I still miss. Well, then you miss. But that's extremely helpful. And it gets even better down here, but I don't particularly care. But again, this is not that amazing. It's helpful, I'll grant you, but it's really one of those where you almost rely on your team at that point to hit those targets. But again, since we have the access to it, maybe we really should take it. And again, knocking a 50% mischance down to a 20% is a pretty big boon for you as a fighter. Alright, last feats here and here. And again, greater weapon specialization is just staring me right in the face, but we haven't taken armor focus either. Again, if you really feel like you want that extra +1, go for it. But we have 2 feats here. And while greater specialization is nice, it's extra 2 points of damage. Is it necessary? We could do critical focus here. And then on this feat, we can actually get that blinding critical probably. Let's actually take a look at that. What is the requirement for that? Yeah, critical focus, which we just picked up. So I could do blinding critical on this last one if I so choose. Or there's other criticals in here like that as well. Like blinding critical, crit mastery, no, that's for advanced criticals. Exhausting critical, no, because you need tiring critical first. So that means I can get tiring critical. That makes them -2 to strength, -2 to dex by making them tired. There's another one at least. Sickening critical. That's a nice one. Sicken for 1 minute. That's a big penalty. Matter of fact, I think we'll do this. Let's get critical focus here. And again, the downside of this is a bonus to confirm your critical hits. And you're like, why is that a downside, Brother Mutant? Because here we're going to get, for our weapon of choice, in this case the Dueling Sword, guaranteed crits. So this is a wasted feat. But it unlocks something of importance. Armor Mastery. Notice this one. If you're wearing any kind of armor, we got DR5/dash, or using a shield. So again, another reason to want to wear that leather armor I was mentioning. Here, last feat. Solid +7, and yes, I did not cut this part out so you can see the final stats here, guys. Solid stats for trickery, and again, We're going to push this up from +7 all the way up to a +13, so this is going to be even better. This is going to be a 33, so you're doing fine for trickery, to the point where you can honestly probably take some of those away if you really wanted to, and put them elsewhere. But these guys are solid down here for world and nature. Again, we're not amazing at them, but we're not horrible by any stretch of the imagination. Perception's good, but not great. Persuasion's good, but not great. But again, as you get gear that busts your intelligence or wisdom or charisma, many of these numbers are going to go up. So I'm not worried about that. And you're going to have a sleuth of gear to literally allow you to swap stuff out. Now notice, here's our weapon mastery. We even get to pick which one it is. I'm surprised by this, actually. I assumed that they would have made us pick whatever we had weapon focus in. So make sure you grab that dueling sword, though. But now remember, what does weapon mastery do? Our crit modifier goes up 1 more. We confirm all crits. So if you crit with that weapon, it's going to crit. That's awesome. And now it does ×3 damage on a crit. That's awesome too. And again, it still works with us 2 weapon wielding those things. So that's amazing for us. Just saying. Dueling sword is a solid choice for us. Then, for our last feat, again, greater weapon specialization is staring at us. We didn't get any of the range stuff. Blinding critical, like I said, right here. Now the question is would you rather blind your target, or would you rather sicken your target? Well, there's differences for both. Sickening critical. Oh, staggering critical as well, by the way. Sickening critical, though, is the one that's like a -2 to their attacks, -2 to their saves, and skill checks, and ability checks, and blah, blah, blah. Because they're basically sick. It's not nausea. It's not that they're helpless, just so we're clear on this. It just gives them the sickened condition. That's a -2 to all kinds of shit. Having said that, blinding is actually awesome, too, because if they're blinded, and they can be blinded, that's another caveat here, they literally can't see you, and therefore you have advantage. It's not advantage in this game, but it's similar to that. A bonus to your swing, a penalty to their armor, all kinds of reasons to want this. So on you for which to pick on that one. I also toyed with the idea of double slice, but it says strength-based. I never checked it for dex-based builds. So if anyone knows better on this one, if it does work on a dex-based build, let me know. Because if it's just the strength modifier, I could care less. It's the dex modifier I care about. And again, there's other stuff that we could have grabbed. You know, teamwork feats like precise strike. We could get a bonus to our shield if we're using a shield. We could have grabbed tiring critical as well. But again, solid choices here. And again, I'm fine with blinding critical being our last pick. Now, let's actually talk briefly about gear. Well, not briefly, at length about gear. What do I mean? Well, first, let's unequip this garbage, because I don't want it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go from oldest to newest, so anything that I pick up will be at the bottom of the goddamn barrel here. Now, with my mod, Bag of Tricks, I can show you some of the gear that's available in the game that you're going to want. Having said that, I'm going to cheat by giving it myself that gear. You will not do this, because obviously that's cheating, and I would not cheat like this in the game. I'm just doing it for effect, to show you what it will actually look like when you finally trick out your character. So let's actually talk about what we're going to get. First, let's talk about our dueling sword. Straight up, just type in dueling, and just go for only the weapons, because obviously that's the only one you care about right now. I'm going to grab all the named dueling swords. So here's Menace. And again, look, there's Frost ones, there's Keen ones, there's Radiant ones that do like extra damage. There's ones in here that are going to be Agile probably as well. Actually, there's not. Wow, that's actually pretty good for us then, because the named ones are the Agile ones. Lord Protector, grabbing you, going to grab the Royal Gift, Swordsman's Passion, Arcane Enforcer, and Bloodhound, which is one of your favorites. Close that up. Now let me show you Arcane Enforcer, Bloodhound. Here's your Bloodhound. See that one? Solid upgrade. Notice the benefit of this one is not only the ×3, because again we have our perfect weapon, weapon mastery, excuse me, but notice the crit range. 15 to 20. Why is it so high, brother? Remember, we got improved critical. This is not a keen weapon, but you have improved critical for dueling swords, so you've doubled the crit range. But why is it still so high? Normally they're 19 and 20. This one's unique. It's 18 to 20. You see that? So this is the best crit range out there, not counting a keen weapon. And we have a keen weapon, technically speaking. So you're going to crit all the freaking time with Bloodhound. And I can get you this one super freaking easy in Chapter 3. With gear. Even as a non-caster, I can get you this shit. And this is a speed weapon, so look at the extra attack around. So that's awesome. Notice that the crit range is higher. Notice that it's agile, so we're getting our dex-based bonus here, +7, eventually +13, added to our damage output. This stuff gets better and better every second. Then, remember, since this is the agile one, we're looking for the other agile one. Nope. But we'll put that in there. Lord Protector, this is the one that sucks. This is the one that it's a bonus, and then it's also a penalty. A penalty if you try to hit a friendly target. So if you've been possessed, you know, Confusion Spell or Dominate Person, you won't kill your team. Your swing is so goddamn good that that -5 don't mean shit. You're still going to hit your team. But this little bastard here, Menace, is your second best in my opinion. It has the Brilliant Energy buff built into it. Remember what that does? That basically turns your weapon attack into a touch attack for everything except for undead, constructs, or objects. So when you come across those guys, do not use this weapon. You even get a bonus to your CMD, CMB. We don't have that. But the luck bonus for combat maneuver defensive, that prevents you from being tripped, bull rushed, all that cool shit. So this is a nice one to have in your hand. It's a +3 weapon. It's not amazing, but it does solid damage. And the fact that it's ignoring their armor bonus and their shield bonus, that's huge. Cuts through them like butter. This one here, the Royal Gift, is a keen one, so this is a solid upgrade. I'm going to move this one over and grab this one. This is keen already, and again, 17 to 20 is the normal. We have improved critical. They don't stack, so whichever you have. So if you get this early, great. If you don't, you're grabbing improved critical eventually anyway, so any weapon you have is going to have that better range. Like this one here. Notice this one is also an 18 to 20. I didn't even notice this before. So this has the 15 to 20 as well. It's not as good as this one because it's not speed, not agile, and it's not a +5. But early on, if you can get this bad boy, that's a solid upgrade still. And it does more damage. It's not showing it, by the way, in the tooltip here. That 1d6, so I don't know what kind that is. This is the last one, though, the Swordsman's Passion, and it's the other agile one in this list. This is the one you're going to 2-weapon wield. Just blades all over the place. Man, you're like your own goddamn smithy. +2, agile, and that's all it is. Nothing fancy. The normal crit range. Notice that it's 17 to 20 versus the 15 to 20. And again, ×3 because it is a dueling sword. And we have the mastery of that weapon. But look at the damage that you're getting here. 30, 23, and that's with your power attack, or sorry, your Piranha Strike on, and your weapon specialization. And we didn't get the other one, so it could have been another 2 points higher here and here. But I still think we managed to do okay. Look how many attacks we're getting in one combat round. 8. That's solid swings, man. A -2 penalty to all your swings because you're 2-weapon wielding, but it's only a -2. And you have greater weapon focus that counters that by itself. Then we got our family heirloom buff, our sword scion buff. So again, we're still on the plus side of things as far as I'm concerned. Yes, the Piranha Strike sucks, but do you really want to shut that off so you have a +6 to your swing versus doing an extra 12 points of damage on each hit? If I'm missing, I suppose I'll shut it off in combat, sure. But it's unlikely to happen. With this many attacks, I'm probably hitting enough that I feel comfortable that I'm going to continue to hit. And again, if I'm missing, switch over to this bad boy that cuts through, remember, because it's the Brilliant Energy buff. The one that ignores their armor, ignores their shield. And again, while it's not a better swing than the... Actually, it is the same swing. 28. Sorry. But even though it's not as many attacks, let's put it that way. Just it's not as many attacks as the dual weapon wielding, we're still going to hit more often than not and still put numbers on the board. That's the goal, right? Now, let's talk about the next thing that we want to buff you with. We're done with weapons. Let's start work our way down the list. If you're looking for a specific thing, I usually do this. I'll search the individual item, highlight all these things, shut off everything except for one category, and type in a letter. A, I, because there's always an A or an I. You see how many results popped up? Need to be more specific. Well, I know I'm using light armor, so I suppose if I typed in light, that might work. That's not what I wanted. Let's do leather, because it's a studded leather piece of gear. So there's all our various leather types of stuff. Now the one I'm looking for is not the ghost leather. This is a decent one. I'm going to grab it. Sage armor. Nope. Not you. Shadow leather +1. That's different than the ghost leather. Patchwork hide. No. Dark studded leather. Bonus against blindness. That's interesting. I'm looking for... It's a named one. Infiltrator's armor? No. Royal Guardian, and we'll also even grab the Python skin doublet just to show it to you. Okay, now here's the 3 that just showed up. Ghost leather, and put it on. Notice max dex +6. We're already losing a point of dexterity. You see the problem? It's what it is. Notice though that it's okay armor, and again, if you find this early on, feel free to use this until you get the one that I'm going to show you here in a second. The reason this one's interesting is because when you get hit, you get greater invis for 2 rounds. Remember, you have sneak attack, not a lot, but you have some sneak attack. Why not get some bonus to your chances to not be hit again by going greater invis for 2 rounds? You see the benefit? So that's a solid one for you. And again, leather armor is your cup of tea. Then we have Royal Guardian, that's when you're going to get. But Python skin doublet is also interesting. Yes, the max dexterity still sucks at a +6. We're losing out on the dexterity you currently have by 1. And again, getting dexed up to a +13 bonus, you're definitely missing out. But again, it's a solid upgrade when you get it. And notice that it gives you a save against poison, paralysis, and sleep. Immunity to trip, that's amazing. So again, those little wolves aren't tripping your ass if that was a problem before. Now that's not a problem. Then we have the ability to cast a spell with it twice a day called Touch of Slime as a 7th level wizard. Again, I don't particularly care, but it is nice when you get gear like this. Having said that, this is the one you're really going to want. Royal Guardian. Why? Look at the max dex. +15, which we're not even achieving. Best case scenario I'm going to get for you is 13. I can get you to 15. I'm not doing it, but I could. We would have to dip outside of fighter to grab at least 1 level of alchemist, some kind of alchemist, because that mutagen, that's a +4 dex bonus I can add. +4 dex bonus here means a +2 here. So that 13 can go up to 15. I can actually get you to a dex bonus total of +15. But again, you'd have to dip outside of it. I've done it before, and you can do it, quite frankly, as a vivisectionist and have fun, because that would give you sneak attack as well. That's cool. Maybe 2 levels even of vivisectionist would be the worst idea ever. But again, then we miss out on our guaranteed crits at level 20, our ×3 multiplier. But potato, you get a few spells that you can cast. That's cool. And you have the ability to sneak attack damage or bombs if you go the other route, so that's something. But if you stay as a purist, this is still a pretty damn close comparative armor bump. Notice it's studded leather, it's +5, so therefore it's an 8 armor class by itself. That's the equivalent of bracers of armor class +8. It also gives us, besides allowing us to use our dexterity, so with the bracers, and wearing not a goddamn thing, but know something else, we're also getting 20 extra HP. Just saying, there's another reason to like this armor. Having said that, if that's not your cup of tea, chuck that and get some robes. There's good robes, I'm not going to show them to you, but there's robes in the game, they're awesome. Now, having said that, if you're going robes, make sure to get the best bracers. Obviously the bracers are armor class +8. But there's other bracers that I like to use instead. Let's actually do that one right now. That's wrist items. Okay, search for it, and there's a couple in here that are honorable mentions. So bracers of armor class +8 is obvious. Bracers of Ruby Phoenix is another one. Bracers of Deflection's not bad. Charon's Touch is not bad, but the one you really want, to my opinion, is the Forest Knight's bracers. So I'm going to show you all of them so we can talk about them. So this one again doesn't do a damn thing for you because you have this +8 already on you. Take it off and you still have your armor. Take this off, you drop quite a bit. So you want that +8 back. Okay, very least case scenario. And then again, get yourself some robes. But if that's not your cup of tea and you're willing to wear the Royal Guardian armor, once you find it of course, chuck this to the curb and start putting on stuff like the bracers of Ruby Phoenix Champion. Why? Because you don't have any skill with a weapon that's ranged. So if you equip a longbow, suddenly you actually become quite good at it. And your dex is still pretty goddamn high. So while you don't have point blank shot or precise shot, you're still swinging pretty badass with a composite longbow. Just saying. You're not amazing at it. You're not like Ekin, but you're doing okay. And we didn't invest in it one whit. So this bracers alone is a nice little bump for you. Don't like that one? Here's bracers of deflection. Notice how this gives you extra armor. 2 for deflection here, here, and here. So deflection works on all. But it's only a +2. But if you get these early, hey man, take that shit. Notice it also has the ability to let you cast a shield spell twice a day. And while you may say, well, so what? That's only a +4 to your armor. I already have shield here +2 thanks to the Eldori Dueling Master. Yes, when you're wielding one weapon. But are you going to be wielding one weapon? See how our armor went down? We lost that +2. Cast that shield spell on your ass, you go back up 4. You see the appeal, right? So again, decent, not amazing, but it is decent. Notice that Charon's Touch is nothing more than a buff / spell that you can use to hurt people. So you got harm once a day and greater false life twice a day. That's temp hit points. Again, I'll happily put that on just to buff myself up before fight, just to get the extra HP, take it right back off and put on my other bracers of whatever. So like I said, you're going to be a clothes whore. You're going to have bracers, rings, gloves, belts of all kinds, robes, this kick-ass leather armor, different necklaces and cloaks, just all kinds of crap, boots. So again, you're going to be a monster when it comes to your closet. Notice Forest Knight's bracers. This is one I actually want to have. This one makes you technically immune to frightened and confused. Why do I say that? It can still affect you, but instead of being frightened or confused, and this is pieced back together from bits and pieces that you find in the game, the storyteller refashions it for you. If you become shaken, instead of being shaken, you're immune to that effect, and it's negated, and you get a bonus to your attack roll, your saves, and your skill checks for however long you should have been shaken. Basically reinforcing your character. That's awesome. If you become frightened or confused, obviously worst case scenario compared to shaken, instead of that, you just start laughing as if you were under the hideous laughter spell. I'm cool with that. While you fall on the ground and start laughing your fool head off, you can still defend yourself. Unlike frightened, where you're panicking to the level where you're running the fuck away and they can just chop your ass into pieces while you're running away with attacks of opportunity. Or God forbid you're confused and you turn on your team or yourself and start damaging yourself with your badass swinging weapons. Confused would suck. This counters that by basically making you just laugh your ass off, and again, you can still defend yourself. You're not helpless. You just can't attack. Once that wears off, though, you're back to fighting like normal. Notice also you have the ability to cast Freedom of Movement once a day and only lasts for a minute, but awesome. And the best part, if a Fae actually hits you, those sons of bitches, they have to make a will saving throw. I don't know what that check is, but they have to make a will saving throw or become frightened of you for 1 to 4 rounds, which means they turn tail and run, which means attack of opportunity and run past your team, and they do attacks of opportunity, and that's just funny to me. These are solid bracers. The stuff that the storyteller normally fashions for you usually are good with a caveat, like something that sucks about it. Like the Cloak of Souls, where you have a -4 to your con. If you take it off, you get straight up die because it's cursed. But this one, I don't see any penalties to this. This is all buff, and I happily will take this. Now let's talk about something else you might equip. So we've done bracers. Let's go back to belts now. Obviously, you're going to want the physical belt of perfection +8. Now, that's pie in the sky dreaming. You will get it, but you're not going to get it anytime soon. Notice there's other stuff in here that's worthwhile and worth looking at. Let's see, what's a good one? Portgas Shackle Fury? No. Is it Windfall? No. Mirrored Belt. Eh. Divine Sports? No. Where is it, you little bastard? It's not Devil's Sash, is it? Yeah, this is it. Devil's Sash. +8 to Dex, +8 to Con. No strength bonus. We can get that elsewhere, so I'm not worried about it. But look what it gets you. You're immune to poison now. That's cool. That's not the best possible case scenario, and there's other stuff in here besides. But that's a decent upgrade. And again, if you do that, I'm happy with those buffs, because remember, what's doing your damage? It's your Dex. It's always been your Dex. So why not have that? And look how your damage changes from 34 and 23 to 34 and 25. We're getting half of that increase here on this side. Again, that makes sense for us. But that's a solid upgrade for you. And again, the pie in the sky dreaming perfect one. 8, 8, and 8. Stronger, which only really matters for carrying stuff. But hey, I'll take it. And athletics checks, I suppose that's true. But again, I kind of rather have immunity to poison, but I can get that other ways as well. That's my point. So again, just because this is the best gear I'm showing you, don't be, oh, of course he's badass. You're making him badass with all this epic gear. There's plenty of good gear in the game that's going to be fine. Boot-wise, we're going to grab the Easy Stride, Owl Bearskin, Sure Step, Bone Threader, Manticore Skin Boots will be the ones that I almost always wear, Swamp Dweller, Hellstrider. Now, that's a lot. Let me show you the one you're going to want to wear 9 times out of 10. Notice it increases our speed, so we're even faster. Notice also we get a +4 natural armor bonus. That's here and flat-footed, I believe. Yep. And that's normally the necklace that you're going to wear. We're going to wear a completely different necklace that buffs us in a different way. Still going to be armor and something else, but it's because of these boots that we can do that trick. Now, that's my go-to boots. Why did I pick these other ones? Look at what we have. The ability to teleport once a day. This is how you will get this badass weapon. That and a bunch of potions of just invisibility. Not greater invis, not vanish. Invisibility. And this belt, this boot that allows you to teleport once a day. Enough rations that you can rest to teleport the fuck back out after beating this giant ass boss fight. He will drop weapons like this, or the weapon will be in the area, and as well as some other kick-ass gear. Bunch of XP besides. So as soon as you can get the ability to teleport into that room and be invisible, and you'll also have the Heart of Ira, which I'll show you how to get that in another video. But that allows you to turn on that toggle while being invisible. You kill that boss off, you steal all this loot, get all that XP, and yummy, 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 your character's awesome suddenly. So again, definitely worth having that particular boot to teleport. Owl bearskin boots. Why not be immune to slow, paralysis, and entanglement, as well as difficult terrain? Especially if you're running solo. You know you're coming across bad guys that are going to try to lock you down with hold person or hold monster spells or whatever else they can do to paralyze your ass. Put that on. You're immune now. No problem. Run through, kick their ass. They're going to hate your ass for it. Here's another one that gives you bonuses for immunity to force movement effects, slow, tripping. Again, very useful. Here's one that gives you just straight up DR5 against physical attacks except for bludgeoning. So slashing and piercing weapons are going to do less damage to you. Hey, I'll take that until the end of the build when I actually have this for free. This one here, immunity to ability damage and ability drain. That comes in soups handy, especially when you're fighting undead. Here's one that's just immunity to poison and fire resistance 30. So again, look for this stuff. Keep it on your person is my point. Let's go for some more stuff. What else might you have? Let's go from boots to gloves. In here, just some that I personally like. I grab the alkali gloves because it lets me add acid damage to each of my melee attacks. And remember, you have a lot of melee attacks with your 2-weapon wielding. That's awesome extra damage for you. It's not amazing, but it's solid, and again, helps you do acid damage, something you normally can't do. Notice that we have other stuff in here, like you want to be resistant to some stuff, wear the fire-resistant, acid-resistant gloves. Boom. You want to have a steady hand where you have a little bit of dexterity and the ability to cast True Strike a few times a day. Here you go. Put those on. How about the ability to shrink yourself down as a little reduced person? Little dexterity bonus until you get the best belt out there, obviously, as well as a reflex bonus. We'll take that, and then you can make yourself teeny tiny. It makes it harder to hit you. A bonus to your dexterity, a bonus to your armor class twice because of your size and your dexterity increase. More damage because your dexterity went up. You get the point. This is all something you would want to have on your tune. If you go with that other belt, that one that's Dex and Con, notice that there's two things that you can grab that will increase your strength on an off slot, like your gloves. Ultimate Grip is a solid strength bonus. Yes, the Con bonus is there, but it doesn't stack with the Con bonus from the belt we just talked about, the Devil's Sash. It's okay. Notice that it also gives me ability to cast Death Clutch once a day as a 15th level wizard. That's the one where you basically do the Mala Ram from the Indiana Jones movie where you yank his freaking heart out of his chest. Massive damage, super fun, and why not be able to cast a spell even though you're not a spell caster? That's fun to me. I'm happy to grab that. There's one better than that though. Royal Gloves, again, Greater Heroism. That's an amazing buff to your swing. 3 times a day for 11 minutes at a time. And a bonus to your Charisma. Have that on your list. Just to put them on, cast the spell, take them right the hell back off, and put on the gloves you do want. I do that all the time. Cheat sheet gloves. These are gloves that buff your lore, your religion, your lore nature, your lore religion, your knowledges. If you need to do that check, you know you need to do that check because it says it's a religion check. Okay, let me put on my religion gloves and go to town. And this is what I'm saying. You're going to have this shit all over the place. And make sure you keep track of what kind of bonus it is. This is a luck bonus versus some that are competence bonuses. They don't stack. Some are morale bonuses. They won't stack with like heroism or greater heroism because those are morale bonuses too. So again, keep an eye out for that shit so you have the best possible case scenario. There is a good one here for strength. Here it is. Star Soldier's Gauntlet. +8 to strength and laser beams. Just like Scorching Ray. 3 beams at a time. And again, is treated just like the Scorching Ray is. Same amount of damage and touch attack besides. You're not great at it, but you have a high dexterity anyway. Feel free to equip that shit. Gloves of Precise Shot. That's a nice bonus to your ranged attacks. Any ranged attack. +5. That's with your ray spells, which you don't have, or your crossbow, your bow, your sling staff, your dart, your ninja stars, or whatever the hell else is in the game that's a ranged weapon. +5 to the swing. That's solid upgrade for you. A bonus to your mobility and athletics checks. Make sure you have that in your bag of holding so that you can pull those out and say, oh, time for my mobility check to go up. Here you go. Again, plenty of stuff here. There's also one here that's an undead Undertaker's Gloves. This is a bonus to your armor, but only against undead. It's a morale bonus, so it stacks with all the other bonuses that you've been accumulating. That's awesome. You're fighting undead? Put this shit on. It will help you. So again, lots and lots of choices. And what did I normally pick on this one? Like I said, I go with the alkali. Doesn't show it here, but when you strike them, each of your weapons will do an extra 1 to 6 of acid damage. Again, not amazing, but it's nice. And again, helps you fell a troll. So feel free to have that. What else can we add to your character? We've done gloves. Now let's do headwear. There's only one that I particularly like. And while you may say he's going for the +8 of perfection hat, I am not. It's a great hat, but you look stupid in it for one, and the other is, do you really need intelligence, wisdom, and charisma on this build? Not really. Wisdom, sure, will saves, that's always nice, but you don't really need that. So give this to someone else on the party that would benefit from it, in my opinion, or sell it. And then, same with your crown, it's a +6, +6, +6. Again, the wisdom's nice, and the resistance to compulsion effects, that's helpful, but it's resistance. A cloak of resistance is better than this. And they don't stack. Whichever is the best number is the one that wins. So don't bother with the crown. Sell that shit, give it to someone else, whatever. So what do I take? It's called the Paragon Defender. Defender of the Paragon, something like that. Paragon Defenders. And there's other ones in here besides. There's plenty of good choices in here. Metal Reborn is a fine example. Wisdom and Charisma bonus. DER5 against physical attacks except for bludgeoning. Hey man, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that one. There's other ones in here though that are decent as well, like the... Oh, let's see if I can find it. Probably can't. Of course, because I'm looking for it, I can't find the damn thing. I'm not going to waste your time with it. But the point is, there's plenty of different hat choices as well. Let's show you the one that I just picked up. That's the Paragon Defender right here. Okay. Now, why do I care about that one? This is our guy. +2 armor class. Notice my armor class went up 2. See where it says other +2? Over here. Other +2. See over here? Other +2. That stacks with all the other armor we're talking about. And yes, there's a penalty there. It's also bonus to persuasion when you try to intimidate. Not something I do, but again, I have a high enough persuasion that if the dialogue choice comes up to intimidate someone, hey, I might pass that check because I got a bonus to it. That's cool. Notice that if there's a teammate that's down near you, if you get too far away from them, you take a penalty. I ain't worried about that shit. You will stand right next to your teammate and kill the bad guys, or you're going to go solo. But that's a solid looking armor, and I love the look of it. Then, let's go for another one. What else do we have? We did headpieces. Let's go for neck items. This one here is a little weird. Gyrona's Amulet's the one you're going to wear. But there's also one called... Oh, I just walked right past it. I just saw it. Damn it. Necklace of Double Crosses is one. Equilibrium, Heart of Ira, that's the other. Okay, close that out. And again, there's more than just this, but this is one you're going to wear. Why? +5 insight bonus. Now look at that. Insight bonus. Here, +5. Flat-footed, +5. Here, +5. So again, all categories. This is not deflection. Deflection's a separate category. We haven't even got to deflection. That's going to come from probably your ring or your cloak. Now, watch this. Or robes, if you go robes instead of this. Notice Necklace of Double Crosses. You're going to have the storyteller make this shit for you. Bonus to trickery, you have that. Stealth, you don't, but you don't need skill in it. So this is a bonus to use for sneaking around. Bonus to mobility, you have that as well. And all your weapons do now 2d6 extra of sneak attack damage. Now that's awesome for a Ginsu chef like you. Obviously the downside is if you get too close to your friends and move away in battle, you will do attack of opportunity and probably kill their ass. So don't do that. But this is great if you're going solo. Look at this one. Equilibrium is deflection, not insight. It's a completely different category, but it's +6 versus +5. Well, then why not do that one, brother mutant? And I'm immune to cold and fire. And again, I said, keep it on your pack. If you know you're fighting fire monsters or cold monsters, here you go, buddy. Put that shit on. That's awesome. And a +6 deflection besides. But remember, when you get a Ring of Protection +5, that's a deflection bonus. This is better. It doesn't stack. It's whatever's the best category. So, this is good. That's going to be now a piece of piss. Just know that. Have a different ring to swap out then for it when you need this thing. But this one here is still solid, and notice that this one at the start of every combat casts a mirror image spell on you, and you don't have the ability to do that shit. So having it in the necklace that you're wearing is pretty damn baller. Now look at this last one. This is the one that you're going to need to get this kick-ass weapon from that undead son of a bitch, where I told you you'll get the boots and invisible potions and teleport in. Because while you're invisible, you won't become visible unless you attack. But if the necklace attacks with his little aura, that's not you attacking. And the bad guy hates that, but he just stands there going, huh, I'm taking damage. Huh, wow, that's weird. Huh, I guess I'll stand here till I die. And he does. You drink another potion of invisibility or two just to get through the fight so that you never become visible, and otherwise he's going to kick your ass. And at level 10, 11, 12 or whatever, when you go to that area with all this gear that I mismentioned, you will kick his ass. You will get like 3 levels at least of XP going solo if you shut off the XP share and get all his loot, which includes, this badass sword. And again, getting that in chapter 3 makes your character freaking sweet. Even if you're not dual weapon wielding, that's still an awesome damn upgrade. Multiple attacks around, solid damage, +5 to its swing. It's a speed weapon, it's an agile weapon, so you're getting all that bonus too. Huge crit range. You will love having that weapon. Just saying. It's a solid upgrade. Then, what else might we have on your character? Well, not neck items, let's grab rings. I always give my main character the same ring. It's called Ring of Circumstances. This one right here. It is baller. You definitely want it. Now, having said that, there's another ring you can put on because you have 2 hands, don't you? Hopefully. As such, what would you do? Well, again, Ring of Protection, that's bland, but that's deflection. And again, they don't stack. So, get the +5 if you have it, and that's all you have. There's other stuff in here, though, like if you want to swing better with your weapon, improved proficiency. Deflection bonus, lame, but a bonus to your attacks with all melee weapons. It's only a +1, but it's a better chance to hit. There's also the, where's it at? Ring of Luck. Bonus to your saving throws. It's only a +1, but it's to all 3 of them. And again, it will stack with a bonus of resistance to your saving throws, which is like a cloak of resistance. So it would stack. Not amazing, but it's there. You can get yourself, you want to cast some magic missiles just because? Here you go. 3 times a day, magic missile spell. Woo! Ring of Security, it's like deflection and then some saving throw bonuses and spell resistance. Kind of cheap, not amazing, but this is when it shows up. If that's the best thing for you, put that shit on. The one I go for usually are the following. If I'm a lawful character, I get the Ring of Law. If I'm a any character, I go Greater Ring of Ultimate Protection when it shows up, obviously. There's a Chaos ring in here as well, Ring of Chaos. And there's a True Neutral ring in here somewhere. Where are you at, you little bastard? Grab the Ring of Blur while I'm thinking about Greater Ring of Balance, that's it. Alright, now, and the Great Dreamer's Smile, that's another good one. What else might I grab? That's probably it. That's good enough. That's a lot. Alright, so let's look at these rings. Now, the one that I normally put on, like I said, always, is the Ring of Circumstances. This is the one that buffs 4 different stats up to you from this laundry list of shit. What to buff. What would I buff? Dex, Con, Armor class, and probably skills or saving throws. That's another good one for you. And it's a circumstance bonus. That's why it stacks with all these other bonuses. You rest, the toggle reactivate, and you just click on the 4 things that you want. A +2, which again is how I get your dexterity up another 2 points, so that this goes up another point. It's up to 12. Now, how do I get to 13? That's the other thing that's missing. Just make that real quick. And I just want to say that's usable items. And I'm going to go Elixir. This is the one that Bakken makes for you. This is the one that literally, let me go by name. Bakken makes for you. We got like 5 or 6 of these things. There you go. You drink this once. +2 to all your stats. Strength, Dex, Con, Intelligence, Wisdom, Charisma. One use and one use only. But it's amazing. Let's go to oldest to newest and go back to our gear here. Alright, so here's our rings. Again, got this one. What else could I put over here? I have a ring here that gives me a bonus, a luck bonus no less, to a bunch of shit. Attacks, damage, saving throws, skill checks, spell pen, which we don't care about, and you're immune to curses. That sounds pretty freaking sweet to me. If that's not your cup of tea, here's one that's I normally put over here. It's a solid choice. Ring of Greater Ultimate Protection. This is a Ring of Protection +5. Notice the +5 deflection. It's also +5 resistance to all your saving throws. That's like a Cloak of Resistance +5. So that's 2 in 1. Then it gives you even more in Spell Resistance 24 and a DR2/dash, which means it doesn't penetrate that shit. So when you get this early, cheap extra damage reduction for your character. Solid upgrade. You're not doing that? Okay, what about your Ring of Blur? You can't cast spells on yourself normally. How about having the ability to make yourself continuously under a blur effect? That's a minus 20% chance, or a 20% chance for them to miss you. Featured right here. See that? That's solid. That's awesome. That's always going to be on you. They can't dispel that shit. 20% chance to miss me with all the armor you got going besides. That's a solid upgrade. Don't like that one? Okay, I get you. How about we do the Ring of Chaos? If you're chaotic, chaotic, good, neutral, or evil, you can wear this. +4 deflection ring and freedom of movement permanently on your character. Never paralyzed again, never in a web spell, never in difficult terrain. You just zip it all through the goddamn place. That's awesome. Okay, maybe you're not chaotic. What if you are lawful? What does the lawful one give you? Also a +4 deflection, but instead of freedom of movement, it makes you immune to confusion and fear. Remember those bracers? Confusion and fear. Now you don't have to worry about the hideous laughter part. And again, hideous laughter was the best case scenario there compared to confusion or fear. Now you're immune to it, and again, you don't even have to worry about that. They can still try to shaken your character, but that falls under the fear category, I'm sure. The question is do they give you the buff? The +2 morale bonus to attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks. If they try to shake you because you're immune to it, I'm guessing probably no. But that's still okay. I didn't want to have a buff. I didn't want them to try to confuse, shaken, or fear me. You still get the freedom of movement by having the bracers on, and the Fae still get crazy frightened from you if they try to hit you, so that's still nice. If that's still not your cup of tea, though, when you have this one, feel free to kick this one off, put the bracers of armor class +8 on, and get yourself a nice kick-ass robe. You see what we just did there? And again, tons of options. That's my point here. Other ring. No, that's Devil Sash. Where's my true neutral ring? Did grab one, didn't I? Greater Ring of Balance. There it is. We can't equip it because it's in the red, but I can show it to you. This is if you're true neutral. This is a hard row to hoe. But a +5 deflection. That's again a Ring of Protection +5. Awesome. Immune to emotion effects. Immune to fear. Immune to confusion. And freedom of movement. Basically, it's the Law and the Chaos Ring combined, and it's better armor. And again, notice this part. Can only be worn by a true neutral on both axes character. Again, if you're true neutral, here you go. This is an amazing ring protecting your ass. So again, up to you. What else do we have to work on? So we've done rings. I'm not doing shields, but they're there. Shoulder items, I guess, would be the last thing to check on. And wrist items, I suppose, too. That's other bracers. We already did wrist items. Cloak of Heroism. Yes, it's lame, but you can put it on, cast Heroism on yourself once a day. That lasts for 20 minutes. Take it right back off, put on a better cloak. But that's a +2 morale bonus to your attacks and your skill checks, and not immunity to fear, but like a bonus to your fear saves. And again, an awesome early cloak to get. Other stuff in here. Obviously, a Cloak of Resistance +6 is stable. If you have cloaks that make you immune to blind effects and dazzling, those are awesome. Notice that there's cloaks in here that you can't wear, like the Charred Mantle. That's the one for Ragongar only. But there's other ones in here, like the Wyvern Skin Cloak. It's not awesome, but it's a +2 natural armor enhancement. That doesn't stack with the boots that we have on, but until you find those boots, here's some extra natural armor. And a bonus that saves against poison, sleep, and paralysis. So again, until you find something that makes you immune to any or all of those effects, this is handy. We have other stuff besides. Again, I'm not going to go through the whole damn list, but I think I settled on probably just a Cloak of Protection +6, quite frankly. Or was it the Castigator's Cloak? No, that's evil. Absolver's Cloak, is that the good one? Yeah. So we'll take that one. So again, an alignment specific cloak. Here's the Absolver's Cloak. Look at what it gives you. +4 deflection. We already have that. Well, maybe I don't use this ring. You see my point? +4 resistance on all saving throws. We already have that. But again, maybe I don't. Well, actually, we don't have that. So that's actually nice. But the point is, go through, triage what you have. Notice another bonus to armor class if you're fighting evil guys. Bonus to persuasion checks. That's awesome because, again, you have persuasion as a skill. So again, you have plenty of options. And I know this video's gone on a ton, guys. I do apologize for that. But I just wanted to show you that you have options to make your character baller. You do not have to worry about, if I'm a fighter, am I going to be subpar? No. As long as you kit it out okay with gear and have a decent understanding of the feats that you're going to get, you will be fine. Let's just show you one quick fight. This is a tough-ish dungeon, like a level 20-something, in the infinite dungeon, the Tenebra Steps, where I have fighting like raging trolls or some shit, and they have a solid swing. I want you to see what the character by himself is capable of doing, alright? So I'm fairly certain that there's a door here. Yeah. So we'll send him in. Notice he doesn't even have all his buffs on because we didn't rest. I can force a rest though, so I will do so. The way we do that, for those of you that want to do it, just go in here under, again, Bag of Tricks, go to Rest and Rations, and you just want to say Instant Rest. Close it out. And now everyone's rested up and your abilities are back online. Again, what we're going to grab, armor, yes. I'm going to grab con, yes. Dex, yes. And saving throws, yes. 4 of them. That's my 4 buffs. That's the only ones I really care about. Notice I have Blinding Critical on, Piranha Strike on. Why I have it twice, I don't know. Let's just put this down here. And I'm fighting defensively. Now again, which weapon am I using? 2 weapons or 1? Well, let's go in with 1 weapon to start things off, just to see what one's capable of doing. Troll Guard Berserker, and he's going crazy with a will check on me, trying to dominate me. I passed it, barely, but I did pass it. So he's probably a target I want to take out. Charge his ass. Now let's take a look at that swing. First off, it's a bonus to the swing because we charged. See the charge +2? Notice we have weapon training, heavy blades, +4, like we've been trying to tell you. Greater weapon focus and weapon focus, so we got a +1 and another +1 for using a dueling sword. That's awesome. Sword Scion, that's a trait, +1. Family Heirloom dueling swords, that's a trait, +1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just from feats and traits alone. Then the weapon itself is magical, +3. Then we charge, then we have training in the weapon like crazy, and a solid base attack bonus at 20. We hit with a +38 and a high dex. Yes, there's a penalty for fighting defensively. Yes, there's a penalty, and it's not as bad as it could be. Remember, it's normally -4, but we have a feat that takes care of that. Then we have a -6 because of the Piranha Strike, so we can do extra damage. Easy to hit this guy, and notice this. This is Menace. This is one brilliant energy buff to the weapon built into it. See the -6 Menace? See his breastplate +6? That's why. It's cutting through his armor and cutting through any shield he has. He doesn't have a shield, but if he did, it would also not be here as well. There, the minus would take it away. So he has the +6 added, and then we take it away with the weapon. So it's really easy to hit this guy. Otherwise, he'd have a 29 armor, and it would still hit him. It's not the point. It's just easier to hit him. And now look at the damage that we did. One swing, 1d8 +34, reduced to 41 instead of 42. Why is it only DR1, Brother Mutant? That's kind of lame. Why would you think a troll has that? Well, remember, we have penetrating strikes and greater penetrating strikes. He actually has a DR of 11. We are subtracting 10 away from that. The 1 is still there. So we will do 1 less damage every time we hit him. Ooh, scary, scary troll man. Notice we also hit him for acid damage with our gloves on, our alkali gloves. So 1d6 of acid damage per hit. Only 1 hit, but still helpful. And we're just going to have everyone fight me. And I'm going to have all these guys just end their turn. Before we get into this next combat round, I want to show you something first. My initiative check. Here's Choppy. 19. Some of that's from my dex, 13, and then the other bonuses are coming from either traits or improved initiative, or feats that we have while using the dueling sword, where we have a bonus to our initiative check. So again, something that's pushing it up, up, up. And again, a normal 1 to 20 you die roll. So whatever you get here determines who goes first on that combat round. Doesn't mean we're not going to get surprised. It's still going to be a thing, but it's less likely. Oh, I got hit with the, what do you call it? The dominate monster. That's why they're not swinging at me, and that's why I'm not swinging at them. There we go, I made the save now. Now I'm back in the swing of things. Okay, so here's our guy that's causing us the problems. We're all up in his face. We got our buffs on still. Yep, okay, so we're going to do our 5-foot stutter step just to make sure we can get him.
This will hurt.
Chop 1, chop 2, 3, and... Oh, that was just brutal damage. So we hit him for a 36 here. Hit him with a solid... that's 2 out of 4, sorry. 35 here. We hit him for a solid 47. And his armor was a 23. And should be a 29, by the way. And we did our acid damage as well. Hit him for a 36 and a 3, 36 and a 6, 35 and a 6. No crits, kind of shockingly, but whatever. Now let's show you what they just did. He tried to swing at me. I'm the only one up there. Look at my armor. Remember, I'm not wearing anything other than some freaking leather, studded leather armor. And I got an armor class of 60. Is that amazing? No, I've seen armor in the 70s. But again, we're doing okay is my point. And again, if I had the Ring of Blur on, there'd be a 20% chance to straight up miss me. So again, there's all kinds of crap that I can be doing to make my character slightly different. I could have taken an invisibility or greater invisibility potion before going into battle so that I miss 50% of the time. Again, solid options for you as your tank. And again, just to point one more thing out, notice that again, I'm getting my fighting defensively, this toggle here, I'm getting a, oops, wrong character. But I have fighting defensively on Choppy, on him. And this is normally a +2. It's +3 thanks to my mobility having 3 points in it, and it's 2 higher because I have a feat that makes it 2 higher. So again, I'm at a +5, not a +2 or a +3. That's solid, and that's dodge armor. Those all stack, just like dexterity all stacks. So that's a really, really nice upgrade for my armor. Oh, looks like you got a piece of me. And again, I reduce the damage because I have DR5 on, because I have a bonus with armor. Nope. 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 Now, my turn.
You son of a
save again. Choppy time. Cuddy. Choppy. Ooh, just brutal. And he's nearly dead. Let's now switch over to our best weapons category. Where we got 2 separate weapons to switch with. I'll lose out on armor for doing this, but I don't care. You miss me. Alright, now we have our 2 weapon wielding going on, right?
Strike!
Aw, what the hell?
Don't hold back!
Oh, because I had to switch weapons. Duh. I use my turn to switch from one-handed to dual weapon wielding. I forget about that every time. Ooh, I got pissy with him and I damaged him. And I critted him with the Bloodhound. Times 3 damage, 127 damage. And then 6 for the troll. And apparently I killed the son of a bitch. Oopsie doodles. That's my bad. My bad, man. So now, 5-foot stutter step. He's dead. And again, let's just charge in here and just start packing shit apart. Just choppy till you get tired chopping. Take that, you bastard. Just retarded amount of damage we just dished out in that combat round for one character. One, not the team, me. And again, just to reiterate, solid damage. We're getting our dex modifier in there. Really good bonuses besides, and really solid swinging. We have Not the best attack bonus. We've had better. But if I shut Piranha Strike off, I'll lose out on some damage, but I'll have a +6 to all my swings again, so I'm still okay with that. And again, 5 attacks, 3 attacks, that's 8 attacks in a round with a really good fortitude, really good reflex. Okay will, so that's kind of your weak spot. But again, with the right proper gear, you're doing fine. And I didn't buff up with some stuff that I could have done. Like I could have put Heroism on my character. I could have chugged a potion. I could have done any number of things that fighters would naturally do in D&D or Pathfinder to preemptively prepare for battle. Just saying. We're doing well. I think you guys will like this build. Tell me what you think down below. But my name's Brother Me, and please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.